Welcome to this week's session with Putnam County District Library. This project is supported in whole or part by the Federal Institute of Museum and Library Services Fund, granted through the State Library of Ohio. The opinions expressed herein do not necessarily reflect the position or policy of IMLS or the State Library of Ohio, and no official endorsement by either agency should be inferred. Today, we are looking at another Google product. We're going to look at GoogleKeep. With GoogleKeep, you can add notes, lists, photos to GoogleKeep. You can also even record on a mobile type of device, a voice memo, and it will transcribe it for you. All of these features can also then be shared with someone else. So it's a great place to keep all of those notes for yourself. So if you go to keep.google.com, you are going to see something similar to what you see on my screen now. For yourself, if you're just starting out, all of this will be blank. You will not see any of this. However, you will see the take a note. So over here along the side, I have my notes, which is all of the notes that I've ever taken. Then I have my reminders. So only something that I have set as a reminder will show up. And then I have all of these different labels. These are labels that I myself have made at one point or another. So if I were simply to go to edit labels, I can now go in and I can create a new label if I were to choose to. So I'm going to just title it today, for example, and say done. And now I have a second, or I shouldn't say a second, I have an additional label in here. It does place these labels alphabetically, other than the very top one is always your reminders. So I'm going to go back here to the very top where you can see all of my reminders. And what you're going to see is you're going to see some where you have a drawing, pretty rough drawings. You're going to see lists. You're going to see images. So I'm just simply going to show you how to start to take a note. So I have up here above where it says take a note, I have this box with a check. That's where I can make a list. I have a new note with a drawing, or I could simply, if I had an image that I wanted. If I click on image, I am currently on my desktop, so I'm going to see all of the options of images, but I could also do the same thing on a phone if I ran across the image that I wanted. So I'm going to go to, first of all, let's start with list. And when I do that, I would always want a title, because everything is going to come up as strictly as title if we don't specify something. So I'm going to do today's chores. And then I will start to make my list. And I might say make bed, make lunch, whatever I might want. But then notice here below, I have the option of formatting my text. I have my background options. I have the remind me. This is what was over here where you saw the little bell, because if I want to say remind me, what is going to happen is I can set a time either later today, tomorrow, next week, or I can pick a date and time. And I can even pick a place. So if I were to say pick a place, I can, it's always going to give me the option of, if I want to allow Google to know my current location. I'm going to say allow just this time. So I've got it turned off specifically on my phone or on my device. But that would be something that in your settings you would have to have turned on. So if I go, um, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to say save or go back out of this because I'm not going to actually pick a location, but I could pick a place if I wanted to. Um, I can pick the date and time because let's say it's not specific to the date and time that I'm working with here today. That would be either today, tomorrow, and I can always use my calendar and pick that information. So this would automatically then pop up for me as a reminder. Um, let's go back out here and I'm just going to say the next is this is where you can actually share this. So I could click here and share this with anybody else that I might be friends with, work with. And then I also have the option to add an image. I can archive this so that maybe it's put away, saved for later because I don't want that anymore. And I always have the option of more. This is where you can do this where you could add a drawing. So if I go add a drawing, now what's happening is notice everything across the top has changed. I have my eraser, I have a pen, I have a marker, I have the paint, and I have the option of changing my backgrounds here. So I can make a square, I can make dots, I can make lines, or I could say none. This is where you saw my pretty rough images that I had made. I'm going to pick this, I'm going to pick color here, pick green, and I'm simply going to go down here and I'm going to draw something, whatever that might be. And now I have that. Now once I go out of this, what's going to happen, I go to my arrow and it's going to ask me to then um, it's going to be labeled, and I'm making this will be at the top of my list, and I just say, got it, and say close. So now I have today's chores with an image up top. This one is one that I had done that I just drawn an image. Um, Notice what happened. This is where I said I never gave it a title. So I don't have, this has the title, has some text written with it. This one does not. Here's a list. Here's one where I've added an image. Notice when I put a link, it is a live link. And then I have purposely, what I've done here is you'll notice this is saved under personal. This is saved under library. This is saved under website info. So it matches up with whatever my labels are over here. These do not have a label assigned to them. So this is where I would want to say add a label, and then I would pick one of these labels. So if I say example, I say change it to the label example. Now notice I have that over here on the side. It would fall under example when I clicked on that. And then here it is. So that is what you can have and do with Keep. The other option that you will not see, since I am working off of a desktop, is you're not seeing the option of the voice, the ability to have it do a voice recording and then it'll transcribe that. That would be the microphone option that would appear up here, and you would then be able to whatever you are currently speaking would be able to be added to a note. Quick, fast, easy way to make a note. Other than that, what you're going to get with the ability here with notes is you can always obviously trash any note that you might do. And you can also do what's called pin a note. So if I wanted, let's say for example here, this one, if I go here to pin a note, it's going to put that note at the top is what it's going to do. And then the last option here that we're going to show is you always have the ability to go to revision history, just like you do with anything else with Google. So if I go to revision history, you're going to see when it was created, the date, the time, all of that information is available there. That is a brief introduction of Google Keep. I suggest just go in, test it out, and I think you can find that you will have a lot of very useful, quick ways here to save information. Again, this has been brought to you with the Putnam County District Library in supported by the State Library of Ohio and the Institute of Museum and Library Services. I hope everyone has a fantastic week, and we will see you next week.